Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel for a new military video. The today argument is the best fighter bomber strike aircraft. This kind of aircraft has a primary role of carrying out air strikes with greater precision than bombers. They are prepared to encounter strong low-level air defenses while pressing the attack while also incorporating certain performance characteristics of a fighter for air-to-air and anti-ship combat. And the best machine for this role for me is absolutely the Su-34 from Russia. This aircraft was designed starting from the Su-27 baseline, one of the best fighters in the world. It shares most of its wing structure, tail and engine with the Su-27, Su-30 and also the canards like the Su-30 MKI, Su-27M or Su-35 that are needed to increase the maneuverability and reduce the trim drag. Of course, they made many changes to transform the Sukhoi 27 that is a fighter in a fighter bomber, but even with these changes it remains a very good fighter, so it can even be adopted for air-to-air combat. But let's check all the characteristics of this awesome machine. The Su-34 is being produced from 2008. Until now they built 123 units, with 116 of them still active, with the latest upgrade introduced in 2014. The manufacturer is of course Sukhoi, from the name Su-34, and every machine has a cost of $36 million. That actually is not really so expensive as you may think. One of the first important characteristics that we may notice about this aircraft is the crew. We have a crew of two sit side by side. Why it's so important? Usually inside the fighters the crew is sit in tandem and not side by side. In this case the configuration is more similar to bombers. Much of the design work went into crew comfort. We have the pilot commander to the left and the navigator operator of the weapons to the right. While another good advantage of this kind of cockpit is that duplicate instruments are not required for each pilot, because both of them can see the same controls, the same instruments, and they can work better together. Not only that, but since long missions require comfort, the pressurization system allows operation up to 10,000 meters without oxygen mask, which are of course available for emergencies, but they are not needed for the whole time. The crew members have also room to stand and move about the cabin during long missions, and even to lie down in the corridor if needed. A little fun fact, we can also find a galley and a toilet located behind the crew seats. Also entering inside the cockpit is quite uncommon. In fact, we have a ladder attached to the nose landing gear, with a notch in the cockpit floor. And of course we still have ejection seats for security reasons, and this is a very good advantage for a fighter bomber. Moreover, this feature is something that you can find for only this aircraft. This is the only fighter bomber with this kind of cockpit. Then the aircraft overall dimensions are 23.3 meters as length, an height of 6.1 meters, a wingspan of 14.7 meters and a wing area of 62 square meters. Maybe it doesn't seem so, but it's a quite large aircraft. Not as big as bombers, but not one of the smallest fighter neither. Now, in the next section we can analyze the performance of the aircraft. And we will notice, little spoiler, how this aircraft has very good performance, very similar to the fighters and less to the bombers. Even the airframe is also cleared to perform maneuvers of up to 9G. Another characteristic that makes the Su-34 the best one. In fact, it can reach a maximum speed of 2200 km per hour, or Mach 1.8. Then we can find a combat radius of 1100 km with a standard range of 4000 km. Also the service sailing is very good. We have a service sailing of 15,000 meters with a rate of climb of 330 meters per second, something that you can find in any bomber. For the power plant we have two Saturn turbofans with a total power of 245 kN. Also here the engines are the same adopted on the Su-27. Another characteristic in common with its baseline. The thrust-weight ratio is 0.68. So as you may notice, the overall performance are very similar to the one present on fighters. And this is an important point for an aircraft made yes for ground attacks, but with also the ability to self-defense in case of air fights. For the avionics, we may notice canard for planes to achieve a better agility and, as I said before, also for airfights. Then we have a PESA radar. The name stands for Passive Electronically Scanned Array. Then we can find a radar warning receiver, many kind of electronic countermeasures system, and the usual chaff and flare dispensers, always needed. As usual, in the last part we have the armament. The Su-34 has an empty weight of 22,500 kilograms, with a payload of 12,000 kilograms, with a wing loading of 193 kilograms on square meters, and it can reach a maximum takeoff weight of 45,100 kilograms. For the weapons, we have a standard gun, in this case is a 30mm autocannon, and 12 hard points for rockets, missiles and bombs. And for this one we have a huge amount of weapons. In fact, we can find S8 rockets in different variants, S13 rockets, S250 rockets and S80 rockets. For the missiles we have many of them for H rule. We have air-to-air missiles, in this case we have the R-27, R-73 and R-77. Air-to-surface missiles like the KH-29, 38, KH-25, 59, 58. Dedicated anti-ship missiles like the KH-31, 35 or the P-800 Onyx, one of the most famous. Then we can find anti-radiation missiles like the KH-25, 58, 31, and yes, they are the same we have seen before, but in this case are different variants of course. And then we have the cruise missiles like the KH-36, 65 or the KH-SD, all of them with a very high range. At the end, but not less important, we have the bombs. We can find guided bombs like the KAB 500, 5000, 500S, 1500. Then we can find the standard air bombs. Most of them are dumb bombs. They are called dumb bombs only because they are not guided, but actually they are still quite precise. And at the end, the cluster bombs like the RBK 500 or the SPBAD. Now, if you check all these characteristics, you may notice that this aircraft, it has the same performance of a fighter, but it can achieve the same role as a bomber. So this is why I think it's the best fighter bomber in the world. Of course, we have also other valid alternatives, but they are still below this one. If you are curious to know which are these alternatives and what they can actually do, you can check clicking in the right top corner or in the description of the video a top 10 with the 10 best fighter bombers with all the specifications of each machine, so you can compare them and maybe decide if I'm right, so if you agree with me, or maybe I'm wrong. And in that case, let me know why you don't agree with me. And also for today, this video finished here. I hope it was not too long for you. As always, I tried to make it as simple and short as possible, so everyone can understand it without so many problems, and short enough to not be boring. I hope you appreciated the video and liked it. If yes, please leave a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. Click on the bell to receive a notification to know when I upload a new video. But remember that every Saturday at this time, 12 o'clock GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, you will find a new video, while during the week usually you can find the live streams. We don't have a specific day, but usually you can find them during Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, one of these 3 days where we usually build something in Lego, speak about things, you can ask me actually everything. So feel free to participate to the live streams and ask me whatever you want. Say that, see you again next week. Bye!